Hello everyone, my name is David, and I'd like to welcome you all to our PDI Advanced Training. So in today's training, we'll cover some more of our advanced features, such as creating emails, web forms. Then after that, we'll go over some of the higher level admin functionality, such as adjusting your account settings, data sharing, and importing data. So the first place where we're going to start is creating emails in our system. Creating emails is a three-step process. You'll first create your email profile. This is the sender of the email. You'll then create your email message. And then lastly, you'll schedule that email out for delivery. So to first create your email profile, we'll hover our mouse over the Outreach section of the navigation menu, go down to Email Sending, and click on Email Settings. To create a new email profile, you'll click on the Create New Profile button in the upper right-hand corner. Inside of the Profiles pop-up screen, you'll use the Name text box to name your email profile. This could be anything that you'd like, since this is how you'll reference the profile internally in the program. From there, you'll use the From Name text box to enter in the name of the sender. Note, this is the actual name that your recipients will see, so you will want to make sure that the name is correct. From there, you'll use the From Email text box to enter in the email address of the sender. Note, you must have access to this email address in order to use it. From there, the next step will vary. If you would like to use the same name and email address for your replies, activate the Copy the From Name and From Email to the Reply Name and Email checkbox. And from there, click the Save button. If you would like to use a different name for your replies, leave that Copy the From Name and From Email to the Reply Email and Name text box deactivated, and use the Reply Name text box to enter in the name for your replies, and use the Reply Email text box to enter in the email address for your replies. Then click the Save button. Once your email profile has been created, you'll then need to head over to that email address used in the From Email text box. Locate the email from PDI, and click on the link in that email. So that is it for creating an email profile. Once your email profile has been created, you're then ready to go ahead and create your email message. This is done by hovering your mouse over the Outreach section of the navigation menu. Go down to Email Sending and click Create and Edit Emails. Here in the Create and Edit Email page, click the Create a New Email Message button in the upper right-hand corner. This will present you with a pop-up with a number of our email templates. Inside of here, we have various email templates, some featuring placeholders for buttons and images. However, for today's training, we'll just use our pure text template. So this here is our email builder. As you can see, it's divided into two separate sides, our email message that we're building here on the left, and then all of our various options here on the right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of these unnecessary elements in our email message. I'll do this by clicking on that block, followed by clicking on the trash can icon, followed by clicking the Yes button here in the pop-up screen. Now that those blocks have been removed, we'll go over the elements that can be added to your email message. Over here on the right, our first tab is the Content Blocks tab, which features all the various elements that you can add to your email message to actually build the message itself, such as images, paragraph text blocks, buttons, things like that. Our next tab is the Form Info tab, which features all the various style option customizations for your entire email message, such as changing the background color for the body, changing the background color for the message, adjusting the width of your email, adding a border, changing the color for that border, and adjusting the size of that border. The Block Info tab allows you to control the style options for the block that you currently have selected. Inside of here, you can change the background color of that block, add a border, adjust the size and color of that border, as well as add padding to that block. To add any element to your email message, just drag and drop the element until you see the Drop Here text. The first item that I've added here is the image block. This will add an image to your email message. Click the Browse button for the actual block to select your image from your computer. Click the Upload button here to locate the image from your computer. And once you have located the image that you would like to use, just select it and it will add it here to your image manager. Any image that you add to your image manager will stay in your image manager until it's deleted by you. To actually use one of the images in your image manager, just click on the image, followed by clicking the Add Image button. And that will then add the image in like so. Now that we have added in an image, we can see that we have a new tab here in the upper right-hand corner called Item Info. The Item Info tab is only available for particular blocks. For the image block, we have the URL text box. This allows you to turn that image into a clickable link. Alt text is text that will display just in case the image is unable to load. Width will adjust the size of the image. Align allows you to change the justification of the image. If you click the Open button here under Change Image, it allows you to change the image that is currently there in the image block. And clicking the Edit button allows you to edit the image, allowing you to crop it, adjust the size, rotate, and flip. Once you're done making your changes, click the Save Changes button to save your changes. Our next block is the paragraph text block. Just like it sounds, it allows you to add paragraph text to your email message. Clicking in the field will bring up the basic word processor type toolbar up at the top. Inside of here, you can do basic functions that you can do in a normal word processor, such as bolding, italicize, underline, changing the justification, list, indentation adjustments, things like that. We also have a couple of special features in here as well. The first is the merge fields, which allows you to add dynamic fields to your email message, such as first name, last name, email address, IDs, polling locations. Inside of here, just select the field that you would like to use, and we'll add it in like so. Once your merge field has been added in, do not make any adjustments to the merge field, or else it will not function correctly. You can convert any text to a hyperlink by highlighting over the text and clicking the Insert Hyperlink button. Then in the Insert Hyperlink pop-up, you'll use the web address text box to enter in the URL where you would like to redirect the individual if they click on the link. You can edit the text that you've highlighted here in the text box. And if you would like to display a tooltip when the individual hovers over the hyperlink, enter in that tooltip here in the tooltip text box. If you would like to open up this link in a new window, activate the Open Link in New Window checkbox. If not, leave it deactivated. From there, click the Insert button, and that will then turn that highlighted text into a hyperlink. Lastly, you can actually edit the raw HTML of the field here by clicking the View HTML button. Then inside of this View HTML pop-up, you can enter in raw HTML code. I've done simple things in here like create tables, however, I am not sure how far you can push the system. I always recommend that if you're interested in trying something, feel free to give it a try, and if it does not work, then it's just not supported by our system. Our next block is the Separator Block, which will add a horizontal rule to your email message. Clicking on the rule will give you access to the Item Info tab. Inside of here, you can adjust the size, the color, the style, the thickness of the line, and the alignment. Our next block is the Button Block, which will add a button to your email message. Clicking on the button allows you to change the text. Then inside of this Item Info tab, inside of the Item Info tab, you have the URL text box, which will turn this button into a clickable link. You can adjust the background color of the button, change the width, adjust the height, the roundness of the corners, its padding, and the alignment. Our next block is called the Mix Block. I'll add both of them at the same time since they're essentially the same block. One features an image on the left and text on the right, and the other one features text on the left and an image on the right. The image portion functions just like the image block, while the text portion functions just like the paragraph text block. The Block Info tab functions together for these two elements, allowing you to change the background color of both at the same time. Same with the border color, border size, and padding. The image block has its own Item Info tab, allowing you to add in a URL, alt text, adjust the width, and the alignment. Is the Image Group block, which will display two images side by side. Just like before, these two images function independently for their Item Info tab, allowing you to enter in two separate links, two separate alt text, and two separate sizes where the Block Info functions together. Once you're happy with your email message, you can send out a preview of it by clicking the Send Preview button. Inside of here, you'll use the subject text box, enter in the subject line that you would like your recipients to receive. From there, you'll use the Use From Email Profile drop-down menu to select which email profile will be used as the sender. Then in the Send To text box, enter in the email address of the individual that should receive this email message. From there, click the Send button, and that will then send out that preview. If you would like to save your email message, you can click the Save Changes button here. In the name text box, enter in the name of your email message. Note that this is only for internal use. Use the subject text box, enter in the subject line for your email message. This will be the actual subject line received by your recipients, so you will want to make sure that your subject line here is correct. Use the Category drop-down menu to select which category this email message should be placed in. If the category you would like to use doesn't exist, click the green plus button. In the new email category pop-up screen, use the name text box to name that email category, followed by clicking the Save button. Then select the category from the category drop-down menu, followed by clicking the Confirm button to save your email message, or click Confirm and Schedule Delivery to save your email message and move over to the email deliveries page. However, you can also access the email deliveries page by hovering your mouse over Outreach, going down to Email Sending, and clicking Manage Email Deliveries. Inside of here, click the Schedule a Delivery button. Inside of the Deliveries pop-up screen, use the Delivery Name text box to name your email delivery. Again, this is only for internal use. Use the Use Email Profile drop-down menu to select which email profile will be used as your sender. Use the Use Email Message drop-down menu to select which email message you're going to send out. This will automatically fill in your email subject text box. Note, you cannot change the text here in the email subject text box. If you would like to change the email subject line, you'll need to resave your email message. In the Send To section, you'll need to use at least one of these drop-down menus to select the universe or list of individuals that should receive your email message. You can use any combination of the four as well, but at least one option here will need to be selected. If there is anyone in this base universe that you would like to exclude from receiving this email message, activate the Make Exclusions checkbox. Inside of this Exclude People From optional section, you'll need to select at least one universe or list of individuals that should be excluded from this email delivery. However, if there are no exclusions that you would like to make, leave the Make Exclusions checkbox deactivated. If you would like to send your email out immediately, leave the Send Now radio button activated, followed by clicking the Save button. If you would like to schedule the email out for a later date and time, activate the Schedule to Send Later radio button. Then use the Date text box to set the date, use the Time text box to set the time, followed by clicking the Save button. Once your email message has went out, you can review how well it's done by clicking on the View Stats link. Inside of this pop-up screen, you'll see how many messages have been sent, bounces, confirmed reads, forwarded to a friend, marked as spam, unsubscribed, so on and so forth. So that is it for sending out emails in the system. The next place in the program we'll cover is creating web forms. Web forms are created under the Outreach section of the navigation menu, under Web Forms, under Create and Edit Web Forms. Click on the Create a New Form button. Inside of this pop-up screen, you'll select how many pages you would like to use for your web form. For today's training purposes, we'll just use one. However, you can have up to 4 separate pages. This here is our web form builder. As you can see, it looks very similar to our email builder. We have the web form that we're building here on the left and our various items here on the right. We won't go into full detail of what's in the Form Info tab. However, just note that all these items here control the entire style options for your entire web form. Under the Content Blocks tab, we can see that we have some new blocks. Our first new block is the Contact Fields block. If you're going to be using the web form to gather any sort of information, such as volunteer signups, event RSVPs, ticket sales, or donations, you will need to use the Contact Fields block. By default, all the fields in here are optional besides first name and last name. If you head over to the Content Info tab while you currently have this block set, you will see the Visible Sections Control subsection. Inside of here, you can select which fields inside of the Contact Fields block you would like to hide. For example, if we didn't want birth date here, we can just deactivate this birth date block. Same with company, and any other block that we don't want to display. The remaining items that we see inside of the Contact Fields block are still optional. If you would like to make any of these items here required, you'll need to click on the item that you would like to make required, head over to its Item Info tab, and activate this Make Field Required checkbox. Once you've activated that checkbox, you'll see an asterisk next to the name of that field. The Contact Fields block also allows individuals to sign up for the mobile canvassing app. If you would like to enable this functionality, activate the Allow Field Canvasser Sign Up button here. This will then allow that user to enter in their mobile app password that they'll use to log into the app. Our next block is the Event Fields block. This block here allows you to invite individuals to an event. Under the Content Info tab in the Visible Sections control, we have 2 different sub-blocks that we can control for this block. The first one is an RSVP option, and the second one is tickets. If you would like to allow individuals to RSVP for the event, leave the RSVP block activated. If not, deactivate the checkbox. If your event is not selling any tickets, you'll want to deactivate that ticket block. In the Select Event section, you'll use the Event drop-down menu to select the event. Once an event has been selected, you'll see the RSVP options populate down below. Inside of the RSVP options section, you can deactivate which RSVP options you would like to display. I recommend only leaving yes, no, and maybe. You can also make any changes to the fields inside of the block inside of the Labels section. Our next block is the Volunteer Fields block. The Volunteer Fields block allows individuals to sign up for an event activity. Inside of the Content Info tab under Configure Shifts, you'll use the Date From and Date To text boxes to set the date range that you would like to display. Once you have made your selections, these shifts will appear here. Our next two blocks go together, so I'll add them both in at the same time. The first one is Donation Fields, and the second is Credit Card Fields. Note, these two blocks will be deactivated in your account by default, and can only be used once you have completed the Payment Setup form. The Payment Setup form is located under Outreach, Web Forms, Payment Setup. Filling out the Payment Setup form will create a Stripe account for your campaign. Inside of the Donation Fields block, you can control which items you see here by default. For example, if you don't want to give individuals the ability to donate monthly, deactivate this Donation Months checkbox. If you don't want to give individuals the ability to send comments with their donations, deactivate the Comments checkbox. Under the Configure Amounts subsection, you can set which amounts are available here. Once you have changed the amount, click outside of the text box and that will then change the amount there. You can also change which default values are there for the Donate Monthly options. If you would like to activate that Donate Monthly checkbox by default, activate the button here. If you'd like to change the default duration, use the drop-down menu under Donation Months to select your default duration. Under the Credit Card Fields block, we don't really have many customization options. However, we do have a checkbox here that says Delay Capture Block. This will delay the capture of funds into your account. I recommend all campaigns and organizations to deactivate this checkbox. This was built for one org for a very special reason. Our last block is the Survey Question block, which allows you to place a survey question there in your web form. These are the same survey questions that are created under Surveys and Data Configuration. Inside of this block, you can use the Visible Sections Control subsection to decide if you would like to allow comments or not to be associated with your survey question. You can use the Question drop-down menu to select which question it is that you would actually like to place inside of your web form. You can use the Flag drop-down menu to select which responses are available. The question text box can be used to change the phrasing of your question. And if you would like to make the question required, just click on the question itself and the block, and activate this Make Field Required checkbox. The web forms also feature a few additional options. The first is to add a Captcha Form to your web form. That's that little I'm not a robot thing that you see on many websites. If you would like to enable a Captcha Form on your web form, under the Visible Items section, activate the Captcha button. This will then add the Captcha container down here. If you would like to display icons in your various text fields, activate the Icons button. That will then add various icons that you can see here inside of these text fields. If you will not be using the web form to capture any sort of information, you'll want to deactivate the Submit Form button here. That will then hide the Submit Form button. However, if you're using the web form to capture any sort of information, you'll need to enable that button. If your web form has been submitted successfully, you have two different options. The first option is to display a message. That message is located here in the Success Submit Message text box. If you would like to change the message, just change the text there in that text box. If you would like to redirect the individual to a particular URL after the web form has been submitted, enter in that URL here in the Redirect URL text box. Just note that the redirect URL will always supersede your submit message. Click the Form Preview button to preview your web form. Inside of the Form Preview page, you'll see exactly what your web form will look like on its own self-contained website. If everything looks good, you can just close out this box, and you can save your web form. Saving your web form is done by clicking the Save Changes button. Inside of this Save Form pop-up screen, you'll use the Name text box to name your web form. The name is for internal use only. You will then use the Title text box to enter in the title for your web form. Note, this is the actual title that will appear at the top of the browser when someone is in the page, so you'll want to make sure that it is correct. You will then use the description text box to enter in a description for your web form. This description is what will display when people share a link to your web form on social media platforms such as Facebook or Twitter. You can use the maximum donation amount text box to enter in a maximum donation an individual can contribute in your web form. If you'd like to leave it unlimited, set your maximum donation amount to 0. You can also set a budget category for those funds by using the budget category drop-down menu. From there, click the confirm button, and that will then save your web form. Once your web form has been saved, you can then share your web form in 2 different ways. Both of these methods are accessed by clicking on the Get Links button. If you'd like to share your web form as its own self-contained web page, copy the URL text box here, and then share that on social media sites such as Facebook or Twitter, place it as a link on your own website, or put it in an email message. If you would like to embed the web form on your own website, copy the iframe code here inside of the embed code text box. From there, you'll need to actually edit the HTML code of your website to place the iframe inside of it. Once your web form has been out in the wild for a while, you'll begin to get responses back through your web form. All of those responses will sit in a waiting room until they have been approved by you. To access those responses, hover your mouse over Outreach, go down to Web Forms, and click on Manage Transactions. Inside of the Manage Transactions page, you'll see a list of all of the currently pending data from your web forms. You can see what date that transaction took place, the name of the individual, their address if they entered in that data, their phone number if they entered in that data, their email address if they entered in that data. If they did contribute a donation, you would see the amount there under the donation column. If this record does match to an existing record in your people database, you'll see the match score here. Under Options, this is where you'll have the option to add the record to your database as a new record, to match the record to an existing record, or to discard the record. If you hover over the View Match link, if the record does not match to an existing record, you'll get a blank match column, just like this current record. To approve a record into your account, just click the Add button there in the Options column. If you're mass approving records, activate the checkboxes for all the various records, followed by clicking the Add button to add all those records as new records, or click the Match button to match any matching record. That concludes the web form section of today's training. The next place in the program we will cover is Account Settings. This is located under the Admin section of the navigation menu under Account Settings. The Account Settings page is divided into 2 different tabs, and each of those tabs feature multiple sub-tabs. Our first main tab is General Settings, and its first sub-tab is also named General Settings. Just like it sounds, this controls the general settings of your organization account. The Campaign Name text box controls the name of your organization account. Data Sharing Password controls which password is used for data sharing. The Campaign Email is the email address in the mobile app. This is also the email address that will notify of any changes to the account. Campaign website currently does not do anything, so you don't have to worry about that. However, if you would like to enter in your campaign's URL, you're free to do so there. Campaign phone is the phone number that will appear in the mobile app. If you do not want to display a phone number in the mobile app, you can just erase the phone number inside of there. Set Election Cycle 2 controls which election cycle is currently set in your organization account. Note, this will affect your data entry, as support statuses are attributed to the currently selected election cycle. This will also affect which ballot returns you see in your account are set by your selected election cycle. Timezone controls what time your email deliveries are sent out, so you'll want to make sure that your account is always in the correct time zone. Receipts email controls which email address receives notification of donations and ticket purchases. Activating the Process Web Form Transactions Automatically checkbox allows you to automatically process your web form transactions. If you do enable this checkbox, you'll then need to use the percentage match. All records below this threshold will be added as a new text box to set your threshold for your matches. Any record that is below that match threshold will be added in as a new record to your people database. If you would like to bypass the password requirement for your file pickup folders, activate the Bypass File Pickup Passwords for all folders checkbox. By default, all accounts will come with 5 levels of support: Strong Support, Lean Support, Undecided, Lean Oppose, and Strong Oppose. If you would like to change your account from those 5 levels of support over to 3 levels of support, Yes, Undecided, and No, activate this button here. Just note that I only recommend that you activate that button at the beginning of your account. If you have already begun canvassing in your account, I highly suggest that you leave this button here deactivated. Once you make any changes in here, click the Save button to save your changes. Our next subtab is the File Pickup Management subtab. Inside of here, you'll get a list of all of your file pickup folders and their corresponding passwords. To create a new pickup folder, just click on the Create New Pickup Folder button. Inside of this pop-up screen, use the folder name text box to name your pickup folder. Use the password text box to set the password for that folder, followed by clicking the Save button. If you would like to edit an existing pickup folder, just click on the name of that pickup folder. Then in this pop-up screen, you can set a name for that folder under the folder name text box. You can change the password under the password text box, and click the Save button to save your changes. The Viewable Data Options tab controls which data points are available throughout your organization account. The List Box Options to Display subtab controls which data points are available in the Create Universes page. You will use the Select Value drop-down menu to select which data points it is that you would like to edit. Currently I have Party selected. Inside of here, you can see that all the options are currently being displayed in the account since they all have checkboxes next to their field. If you would like to hide any of these options from the Create Universes page, just deactivate the checkbox of the items that you would like to hide. This section here also allows you to rearrange the way that they're displayed in the Create Universes page. You can do this by drag and dropping the items. The same can be done for contact voters with, ethnicity and language, and married, parents, and other. Once you're done making any changes in here, click the Save button here to save your changes. Districts to Display controls which districts are available throughout your organization account. By default, we actually hide most districts from most organization accounts. So if you're looking for a district that you cannot find in your account, always head over to Districts to Display first, see if we have that district type, and if so, if its checkbox is not already activated, activate its checkbox, click the Save button, and then head back into your account and search for it again. If you still cannot find that district, please feel free to contact support at politicaldata.com, and we will see what our data team can do to assist you. The Vote History to Display tab works a little backwards from the previous subtabs. Leaving everything in here deactivated will display all the vote history in your account. It is highly recommended that you actually just leave everything in here deactivated. The moment you activate the checkbox of any item, we will only display the items that have their checkbox activated. Then when new vote history has been added into your account, you'll need to come back in here and activate that checkbox for that new vote history. This can result in you missing out on vote history if you're not aware when that new vote history has been added to the system. Because of this, we highly recommend just leaving everything in here deactivated. The Output Reports subtab controls which outputs are available in the Process List and Files page. Inside of here, you can use the Select Type drop-down menu to select the type that you would like to edit. Just like the Vote History to Display, leaving everything in here deactivated will display everything in your account. We highly recommend doing this. Once you're done making any changes in here, click the Save button here to save those changes. Our last subtab is the Voter Registration Flag subtab. This subtab here controls the voter registration page. Inside of here, you can use the default State from Template drop-down menu to select which state's template you see by default. And you can display up to 4 different survey questions there in that form. These survey questions allow you to pre-flag an individual before they become a registered voter. Once you're done making any changes in here, click the Save button here to save those changes. Note, any changes that you make here in the account settings page will affect all users in your organization account, not just your account. So any changes that you make in here, make sure everyone in your account wants these changes. That is it for the account settings page. The next place in the program we will cover is data sharing. This is located under the admin section of the navigation menu under data sharing. The data sharing page is broken up into 3 different tabs. Our first tab is named About Data Sharing, which gives you a brief explanation of what data sharing is. Data sharing is just sharing flags from your organization account with other organization accounts. In order to receive a flag from another organization account, you'll need to provide them with your account number and data sharing password. Your account number is always static. However, you can change your data sharing password at any time just by changing the password inside of here, followed by clicking the Save button. The Incoming Data tab will show you all the data that's coming into your account from other organization accounts. Inside of here, the Organization column will tell you which organization account it's coming from. The Candidate column will tell you which candidate or issue it belongs to. Inside of the first Map to My Data column, you'll use the various drop-down menus to associate those flags with your selected candidate issue. If the flags that are incoming are not related to any candidate issue, you will not have any option here. The survey question column will tell you which survey question those flags belong to. Under this Map to My Data column is where you can select which one of your survey questions should be associated with that survey question. If the flags that are being sent over don't belong to a survey question, you will not have the option to make this match. The Flag ID column will show you which flags are coming over into your account. You will use this Map to My Data drop-down menu to select which one of your flags should be associated with that flag. From there, you'll use the Status column to select Approve to approve that data into your account, select Rejected to reject it from your account, or if you would like to leave it pending, select Pending. Once you're done making your changes, click the Save button here to save your changes. The Outgoing Data tab is divided into two different subtabs. Our first subtab is Choose Organizations to Share With. This is where you'll select which organizations can receive flags from your organization account. In order to add an organization, you'll need their account number and data sharing password. You'll click on the Add Organization button here. Then inside of this pop-up screen, you'll enter in their organization number here under Account Number of Receiving Org, and you'll enter in their data sharing password under Data Share Password. Click the Save button here, and that will then add the organization here to this list. Once it has been added in, you can share your flags by clicking on the Choose the Flags I Wish to Share subtab. Inside of this subtab, you'll locate the flag that you would like to share, followed by clicking on the Share button. Inside of this pop-up screen, activate the checkbox for the organization accounts that should be receiving this flag, followed by clicking the Save button. If you would ever like to stop sharing that flag with that organization, just click on the Share button, deactivate the checkbox for that organization here under Data Sharing, followed by clicking the Save button. So that completes data sharing. The next place in the program we'll cover is importing data into your account. We'll cover two types of imports today, importing people into your people database and importing flags. The first type of import we will cover is importing people into your people database. This is done by hovering your mouse over the Action section of the navigation menu, going down to Import Data and clicking on Import New People. Click on the Browse button and locate the file from your computer that you would like to import. You will then use the Select File Type drop-down menu to select the type of file that you're importing. If you know that your first row does contain a column title, activate this First Row Contains Column Title checkbox. If it does not, deactivate that checkbox. Click the Load My File button to begin the loading process. Down below here in this table, you'll get a preview of what that file looks like. If everything in here looks correct, click the Next button to move over to the next page. This here is the column mapping page. Our system will try its best to match our various columns to our various fields. As you can see here, I had a column named FName and it matched with first name, LName with last name. Anything that matched correctly, just click the Confirm Settings button. If a field did not map correctly, you can use the drop-down menu to select the correct field. Once you're done making your selections, click the Next button. The mapping preview page will give you a preview of what your file looks like. If everything in here looks good, you can click the Next button to move over to the next page. Inside of the Flag/Data Source page, you will use the Select a Data Source Name drop-down menu to select the data source for the flags that you're importing. If the data source you would like to use doesn't exist, click on the Create a New Data Source button. Inside of this pop-up screen, you'll use the data source text box to name that data source, followed by clicking the Save button. From there, you can click the Import button, and that will then import those people into your people database. Just note that our system does not allow two people in your people database to exist with the same email address. Any individual that does feature the same email address will not be uploaded into the database. If you would like to import a flag with these records, activate the Apply Flag to each record in the Import File checkbox. Then use the Select a Flag ID drop-down menu to select the flag. Then from there, click the Import button. Our other type of import is importing flags. This is located under the Action section of the navigation menu, under Import Data, under Import ID Flags. Inside of here, you'll click the Browse button to locate your file. You will then use the File Type drop-down menu to select the type of file that you're importing. In this case, my file is a CSV file, which means it is a text file. I also know that my file does contain a column title, so I'll activate the First Row Contains Column Title checkbox. CSV stands for comma separated values, so my file is separated by commas. If your file is a TSV, you'll activate the tab radio button. And if you're using some sort of custom file format, activate the other radio button and insert the character here. From there, click the Continue to Filled Mapping button. We will get a preview of what our file looks like up here in the upper right-hand corner. Under the Select Match Fields section, we'll use the Select a Column Field in the Import File to Match drop-down menu to select which column contains our IDs that we're using to match. In order to do a flag match in our system, you will need to use some sort of ID. This can either be a PDI ID. PDI IDs will start with 2 letters, followed by a string of numbers. You can use a California ID, which is from our previous version of our software, or an external ID if these are individuals in your people database and you used an external ID during your import process. You will then use the Select a Matching field in the voter file drop-down menu to select which field you're matching towards. In the Flag Posting Instruction section, you'll use the Select an Acquisition for the flags you are posting drop-down menu to set the acquisition type for the flags that you're importing. You will then use the Flag Posting Date text box to set the date for the flags that you're importing. If the file that you're importing does contain the date, activate the Use the Date value from the source file in column checkbox, and then use the Choose Column with Date drop-down menu to select which column contains the date. Depending on what you would like to do next, the step will vary. If everyone in your file should all receive the same flag, activate the I want to post the same value to every record in the source file checkbox. Then in the Identify the Field to Import section, you'll use the Select the Survey question you want to answer drop-down menu to select the question. You will then use the Select the Response code for the survey question drop-down menu to select the response, followed by clicking the Import button. However, if your file is like mine and it contains multiple columns with different responses, you'll want to leave the I want to post the same value to every record in the source file checkbox deactivated. You will then want to use the Select the Column field for the flags you are posting drop-down menu to select which column contains your question. You will then want to use the Select the Survey question answered in the imported column drop-down menu to select the survey question. For any additional questions, click the green plus button, then repeat the process. Once you're done making your selections, click the Continue to Field Value Mapping button. Down in the Map Field Values of my source file to my flag section is where you'll begin mapping the various values in those cells to your various responses. If I know MVT means maybe, I'll select my maybe flag. If I know NV means not voting, I'll select my unlikely to vote flag. And if I know my VT means they are voting, I'll select my very likely to vote flag. As you can see here, our system will automatically match the values from your cells to the flag if they match. Once you have completed your matching, click the Import button to begin your match. Once the match has been completed, you'll get a pop-up message notifying you of how many records have been matched and how many did not match. To view any unmatched records, click on the Show Invalid Records link. That is it for importing flags. The last place in the program we will cover is managing your universes. This is done under the Admin section of the navigation menu, under Manage Universes/List. The Manage Universes/List page is divided into multiple tabs. Our first tab is the Universe Management tab. This tab here allows you to manage the universes that are currently set in your account, both voter and people universes. If you would like to deactivate an existing universe from your account, activate the checkbox of the universe that you would like to deactivate, followed by clicking the Deactivate Selected Universes button, followed by clicking the Yes button there in the pop-up. If you would like to reactivate an existing universe, activate the Show Inactive Items checkbox, followed by clicking the Activate button for the universe, followed by clicking the Yes button there in the pop-up. If you would like to review the criteria of an existing universe, click on the question mark icon of the universe. If you would like to change the folder that a universe is currently in, click on the link in the category column. Inside of the category assignment pop-up screen, use the drop-down menu to select which category that universe should be placed in, followed by clicking the Save button. If you would like to edit your existing universe categories, click on the Review Universe Folders link. If you would like to delete an existing folder, activate the checkbox for that folder, followed by clicking the Delete Selected Categories button, followed by clicking the Yes button. Note, any universes that are currently in this folder will then be kicked up to the master folder. If you would like to create a new folder, click on the Add New Category button. Inside of this pop-up screen, use the name text box to name that folder. Use the Type drop-down menu to select the type, followed by clicking the Save button. You can manage static list and merged lists the same way. If you would like to deactivate an existing static list, activate the checkbox for that list, and click the Deactivate Selected Universes button, followed by clicking the Yes button. If you would like to reactivate a static list, activate the Show Inactive Items checkbox, followed by clicking the Activate button, followed by clicking the Yes button. Activating the checkbox for a merged list, followed by clicking the Deactivate Selected List button, followed by clicking the Yes button will deactivate a merged list, and then to reactivate it, activate the Show Inactive List checkbox, followed by clicking the Activate button, followed by clicking the Yes button there in the pop-up. That there concludes our advanced training.